Friend, today's story is Crusoe visits the wrecked ship. Although the tree was very uncomfortable, I was so tired that I slept soundly through the night. When I woke up, it was a bright and clear day. As I looked towards the sea, I saw the wreck of our ship lying not very far off. My first thought was to get to the wreck as quickly as possible and to bring back whatever I could find in good condition. I would have to live in this strange place for perhaps a long time, and so I would need a lot of things, especially food and clothing. I was hoping that the sailors on a passing ship would see me and rescue me from this lonely place, but in the meantime I would have to build a shelter for myself, to protect myself against storms and wild animals. When the tide was low, I swam out to the shipwreck and climbed up the side with the help of a rope that was hanging from the deck. I first went to the storeroom in search of food. Luckily, not much had been spoiled by the sea water. I found some biscuits, which I ate while searching for other things. How good they tasted! In the end, I managed to find quite a lot of things that could still be used. But how was I to carry them back to the shore? I needed a boat, but since there was none on the ship, I decided to build a raft. I tied a number of large pieces of wood together with ropes and tied some boards across them, and finally my raft was ready. It took me several hours to build, but it was strong enough to carry me and my things. I found 3 big chests on the ship and filled the first one with bread, rice, cheese, dry meat and some bags of grain. While I was doing this, I saw that the tide was coming in slowly, and my clothes, which I had left on the beach, were being washed away. So I filled the second box with as many clothes as I could find. The third box I filled with saws, hammers and other tools which would be needed to build my new home. There was some money too, but this was of no use to me now. However, I would need weapons to hunt animals for food and to defend myself. So I also loaded some muskets, shotguns, 2 pistols and 1 sword onto my raft. As the tide was now rising, I had to hurry. I placed the chests on the raft and rowed towards the shore. I also took along with me 2 cats and a dog that I had found on the ship, so that I would have some company on the island. When I landed on the beach, I realized that my goods would have to be kept in a safe place. I was not sure whether I was on an island or had landed on the shore of a large country. There might be danger from wild animals. I made a little tent from a sail that I had brought from the ship and put all my boxes under it, so that they would be protected from the sun and rain. The next morning, I climbed up a hill to have a look around. I discovered, to my great disappointment, that the place where I had landed was indeed an island, surrounded on all sides by the sea. I could see no men or houses or wild animals, but there were many birds. I could not recognize any of them and so could not tell which were fit to eat. As I was returning to my tent, I shot a large bird which I saw sitting on a tree. It was probably the first shot that had ever been heard on that island, and was followed by a great noise as hundreds of birds flew out, crying and calling. During the next 13 days, I made many trips back and forth to the shipwreck and brought away a great many things. There were ropes, canvas, sails, cables, a hammock, some barrel of wet gunpowder and more food. There were also maps, a compass, more clothing and even some coins of gold. On the night following my last trip there was a storm again, and in the morning I discovered that the wreck had floated away. I was now really alone, on a completely strange island, and would have to manage to live somehow. I felt that I needed to keep a record of the time I was spending on the island. I fixed a large wooden post in the sand and each day I cut a notch into it. Every 7th day I cut across the earlier 6 notches, thus I marked off the weeks, then the months and years. It was to be a record of many years, but I didn't know that then.